Welcome back to Arise Prime Time, where we offer perspectives on the news and talking points of the day. I'm Charles Aniegolu. Now let's further assess the end of a fateful week in this country and the beginning of what could be not merely a whole new chapter in the life of Nigeria, but a whole new book, a book that could both be a clanger and a banger as we take in the scathing criticism from Donald Trump leveled at what he sees as a calcified Nigerian government. What a week it was indeed. And for their assessment, I'm joined now in the studio by the public affairs analyst, Mazi Nnamdi Dixon Iroegbu, who is both a member of the People's Democratic Party and an obedient, and the public policy analyst and international development expert, Abba Kaka. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Let me face you this way. That might be much more interesting. Mazi Dixon Iroegbu, it's not yet a fatal diplomatic blow, but it's getting dangerously close to it, isn't it? What do you see as the dangers for the Nigerian government from this debacle?
It is fatal, Charles. It is. Because the position of the American president, Donald J. Trump, even though some of us are disappointed that government, rather than face the issues, started trying to explain whether there were more Muslims or more Christians or pagans. The issue is that Nigerians are being slaughtered by the day in numbers. And some appearances we've had on this platform, I expressed my disappointment personally because the president doesn't seem to have empathy. People will die, people will be slaughtered, communities are ravaged, burnt down, and we don't see the monarch-in-chief go there up till now. So it just shows how...
He did go to Benue State.
No, he went for some other event.
No, but he held a thing. I mean, I know people might argue that that's sort of a one-off, but he certainly did something there. So let's be
where we found ourselves,
Right.
right? If out of 100 you made 0.1, we shouldn't be commending you. Where we are right now.
No, it's just that from a journalistic point of view, we have to mark these things.
I agree.
Yeah,
that's
the whole point.
But my point is that
not commendation, but marking.
From the international community, the reaction, it's not just America, Canada, Europe, all of them are, making...
Even Australia
has comments about it. We're first human beings first. Forget religion, whether you're a Muslim or Christian, it doesn't matter. Human lives matter. So that they are dying in numbers in our country and leadership is moving on, not even now looking at governance, but already playing politics of the next phase. So that's where it's very, traumatic for me, watching the leaders fail in this direction. So for me, I think this is a wake-up call for the leaders to stop taking Nigerian lives for granted. And if they continue, my position will be that this should announce really, the ending of this so-called elite conspiracy against the Nigerian people. Because it appears that while Nigerians are suffering, slaughtered, even when they go out to hustle for their daily bread and all of that, the elites are converging under the platform that has inflicted this pain. That's why I ask myself, these people who are defecting, the politicians who are defecting to APC, what would be the reason? Is it that, security-wise there's improvement, economy-wise there's improvement? Nothing. And you see them moving in there. So it's a conspiracy of the elites against the Nigerian people. And thank God, because the God we serve, he still rules in the affairs of men. So the blood of the innocent people shed, that God that created them in his image, has raised the man from the international community to prick the conscience, the smeared conscience of the Nigerian leaders. If this is what it will be, then fine. But about distracting ourselves with whether it was more Christians that are killed or Muslims that are killed, for me, it's neither here nor there. Lives are daily being lost in their numbers. People are kidnapped in Nigeria and they pay ransom. And there's no trace of all of this. And then rumor even has it that government is also involved, when you one way or the other in the different states, negotiating with killers, terrorists, you know, in our country and all of that. So it's shameful.
Right,
And
okay.
I commend, of course you know that I'm a fan of Donald J. Trump. I commend him for standing up, not because it has to do with any religion, but standing up for humanity.
Right.
Anywhere we are,
Okay.
any human life that is lost should affect all of us.
Abba Kaka, I wonder what your thoughts are on all this. How much has this tarnished, if you like, the Nigerian brand? Because now everybody can see that the emperor isn't wearing any clothes. I mean, there is a risk here, is there?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. The Nigerian brand is definitely affected, is tarnished, is kind of damaged. But as good citizens or responsible citizens, as well as patriotic citizens, when there is a problem or when there is a crisis in a country, we are expected to rally around the government regardless of our differences, because that's what other responsible countries do. It's not because the government is doing well, but for that moment, because there is what is called sovereignty, and 99.9% of Nigerians have no other home than here. Only very few elites that do. That's number one. And number two, it's very unfortunate that human life in Nigeria doesn't matter anymore, because, as he said, we shouldn't be distracted by how many Muslims are killed and how many Christians are killed. The point is there are so many citizens being killed, and that should be enough for the government to wake up, because there's something wrong the way we are going right now. Second, the fact that this is happening, one tweet from the President of the United States brought all this, is exposed the rot in the system. And if there's going to be sanctions, it should be targeted at those elites, military elites.
But I think that's what they're trying to do.
I hope
they've
so.
made it clear. In fact,
Exactly.
Senator Ted Cruz has
Yes.
made it clear
Yes.
that what he intends to do is targeted sanctions on individuals,
Exactly.
not on the country.
Exactly. So going further, the point is where the mess was completely taken out of equation was the genocide claim. When this delegation, several delegations from the US came to Nigeria, unfortunately, they did not visit any of those major states that are affected except Benue and Plateau. They didn't go to Borno, they didn't go to Katsina, they didn't go to Zamfara, where it could have balanced for them to see, but obviously there's an agenda and they refuse to go. They have been asked to go. And even the part of Borno they went to, Goza, they passed through a town, the second largest town in Borno State called Bama. They passed through Bama to reach the Christian part of Goza, where Senator Ndume came from. So if they have opened up and went to all the other affected areas, they would have had a balanced view. That is, and when even the BBC did an investigation, perfect one, and came out with loopholes into what was happening.
Yeah.
Because Ted Cruz's office also did not respond to BBC, surprisingly, when facts and figures. I'm more interested in facts and figures than sentiments. What is happening in this country is just too much. Enough should be enough. The president needs to wake up. The president needs to accept the fact that something is wrong here. It's not just changing service chips, which
That
takes...
is a bit, it comes across as almost superficial.
Exactly.
I mean,
You understand?
Although, in fairness, if you get, because I mean, the talk has always been about competence and
Yes.
leadership. If you
Yes.
get the right person in,
Exactly.
and they're able to mobilize
Exactly.
properly, then perhaps you could have a dramatic change. But let me come to you, Mazi Iroegbu. What do you see as the biggest dangers of all this concentrated international focus on the Tinubu administration, which, let's face it, is not used to this kind of focused aggression, particularly from people like Donald Trump, and the aggression that could well be followed up with something much more lethal than just words. And coming from, I think, as you mentioned at the outset, not just from the US, but now from Canada, Australia, you know, and all the rest of them.
I clearly, even as an opposition citizen of this country, opposition member, for me, it gives us hope. Because we refused to play their kind of politics, the kind of politics that
Well, actually,
the government
that's not fair.
No, we refused.
You're all tarred with the same brush,
sir,
I'm afraid.
No, sir.
That's the honest truth.
Do you know
so
what
don't say
they did?
you
Do you know-
refuse to
Do you know
play
what
the same.
APC
I mean,
do you know what APC did to the system, Nigerian nation, 2014-2015 campaign? They wrecked everything. They went beyond politics and attempted, in fact, to turn Nigerians against each other. So we won't play.
Mr. Iroegbu, can I make this point?
Yes.
Okay. Go back to the history of this country. Let's start even from 1999. The PDP presided over the spectacular rigging of elections. That's one of the biggest dangers in this country, where, for example, we have not been able to vote for the people that we want to be in office.
Even in America,
Okay?
even the America
corruption, the Boko Haram started in 2009
Yes.
when there was a PDP government.
I agree.
You could have dealt with that situation. You didn't.
Charles.
It metamorphosed.
Charles.
So
Charles.
both of you are to blame.
No, please.
The only people who are not to be blamed are the Nigerian people.
Well,
Okay?
the members of these political parties you mentioned are
agree.
Nigerians. I'm a Nigerian first before identifying with any political party. But I'm
Obviously,
speaking,
but you belong
I'm-
to a different class of Nigerians.
I
don't-
belong to a political party. I decided not to be docile. I decided not to just watch and look, or look at them do the thing that they are doing, without my getting involved to say, okay, we cannot, because you can't stay outside and make this call. You have to join, not joining them in their own camp, but join a political platform that can be used to oust the reunion platform.
And what's happened to those platforms that you joined?
No, can
the,
I-
the
at
PDP and the Labour Party.
Well,
Where are they now?
That's why I
As
said
a
to
viable
you,
opposition.
That's why I said to you, in 2013, 2014,
Right.
the onslaught, in fact, from 2012, that the APC, led by this current president, because he was the leader of the opposition at that time, led by this leader who is our president, did everything about desecrating the seat of power in Nigeria. They called the president of Nigeria clueless. But here today, we now know who is clueless. We now know what clueless means, because what the president has shown that now alarmed the world, the global community, is the level of incompetence, gross incompetence that the Tinubu government and indeed the APC government has displayed since they came to power in 2015. So for us, what has played out now is giving us hope that even though they have captured the judiciary, even though they have the National Assembly in their pocket, even though they are now assembling together as elites to gang up against the Nigerian people, the world, the global community is watching. Therefore, those of us in the opposition are further emboldened to now say, okay, we can engage. Because indeed, what we have been calling the attention of the leadership to, the world has heard us, and therefore we can engage. Because all of these failures of the government, right, all of the corruption issues that we are faced with in our country, now we can now at least have a partner we can run to and say, this government has failed and does not in any way deserve, just like in the military, when they will say do not reward failure. The APC coming back to power in 2023 is an aberration. It shouldn't have been, because they failed for 8 years. Now, we thought, okay, this person who has come on board, haven't claimed all the things he said he did in Lagos and all of that, that we're going to see, that application build Nigeria.
Right.
But we haven't seen that.
Okay.
So it is failure, and the man is busy campaigning already for re-election while Nigerians are dying. So the campaign is on the graves of the Nigerian citizens, and
Well,
it won't fly.
let
I
me-
see this government's tenure ending quickly, even before 2027.
Let me come to you, Kaka, because a key agent provocateur in all of this has been Donald Trump, who is quite erratic. Everybody, I think, will agree with that. Do you think he might burn out before he carries out all the things he's threatening to do? I mean, because, you know, he's easily distracted. He could move on, and you know, we've seen him sort of rail at people and then hold hands with them. I mean, do you suspect that maybe, perhaps in a couple of weeks' time, he and President Tinubu will be seen in a sort of warm embrace?
It's not possible.
It's a good possibility, actually, looking at Mr. Trump himself. This is actually more of a geo-economic message to the country. And, you know, there's some sphere of influence that the U.S. is losing, not only in Nigeria, but in West Africa, as well as in Africa. This Sino-Russian influence, this is the major part that I'm looking at, because China is more coming into the country seriously, and Russia is coming into some parts of West Africa as well. And in return, the U.S. is losing influence in those areas. So this is more like economic message for the country to get it, so that, you know, you have to have the threat, obviously, and the threat is working, because everybody is on their toes now. And I hope that the government will wake up and stop the killings. This is more important. Remember that there was a time in this your studio I was shouting, our people are being killed.
I remember that.
You remember that. And we have to hold our government responsible for the killings. So the government is responsible for all these killings. There's widespread failure when it comes to security. If the president can fix this security issue in the next 2 years before the election,
It's less than 2 years.
you know, it's less than 2 years. That is what we need. You understand? People are really going through a lot. Abuja itself is not safe.
Nowhere
as we
is
speak.
safe.
Nowhere is safe.
Yeah,
So this is the reality we are living in. So if a foreign power points fingers at you, look at where the finger is pointing. What exactly are they seeing that
And
you're not
examine
seeing?
your conscience.
Examine your conscience, because, you know, we look at
And your policies.
bandits running around in markets, inside Katsina, inside Gusau, and many other cities in Nigeria. This is embarrassing. What happened to the Nigerian military? We are spending billions of dollars every year. The budget of the military goes up every year. So does the insecurity.
And yet most of the rank and file soldiers
Exactly.
Don't get
are
them-
in a terrible, terrible
Exactly.
state. And in fact, many times they get ambushed.
Yes.
They get ambushed,
And,
of course.
and why do their ambushers succeed?
Because
Because
they have
they've run out of ammunition. They
ammunition.
don't have the bullets. They haven't been supplied with bullets. They
Exactly.
haven't been given anything.
Exactly. But the enemies of Nigeria are the ones supplying the bandits.
The
and-
enemies of
and, you know,
Nigeria have people they conspire with from inside.
Indeed.
Well,
Those
let
are
me-
also enemies of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
so
Let me come to you for a final word, because we've literally got about a minute or so. You're a member of the People's Democratic Party
Proudly so.
and an obedient.
Yeah.
Do you detect an opportunity for the political opposition in all of this?
You know, I was
A
alluding to-
political
I was-
opportunity?
I was alluding to that earlier. You see, the thing is that they are deliberate about destabilizing the opposition, and they know they have failed. That's why the poaching is going on. Is there an opportunity for us
Could
to...
this be a rallying point?
Yes, it is.
For the
Because
opposition.
Clearly it is, because what they accused a PDP of in 2014, 2015, we have seen worse scenario here. We have seen their inability to manage the diversity of the country, because, for instance, the Muslim ticket, if they are going to go again in 2027 with a Muslim ticket, with this development, of course, you know that this is a sack already. That is a total disservice to the country. Muslim ticket. It was wrong. The only way it can be balanced in the future is when we get a Christian ticket that the Muslims themselves will also tolerate. Outside it, they have foisted on us an attempt, to Islamize Nigeria. And for us in the opposition, particularly PDP, for us, it is about the Nigerian people first. That is why policies of the PDP, when we were in government, you could see that, for instance, when the issue of subsidy was going to be removed, we didn't just come to announce subsidy is gone. We considered first the Nigerian
people. You got
people.
about 20 seconds.
Yes, and certain things were put in place.
Right.
But this one, 2 years plus after subsidy is gone, they are still borrowing. And there's no cushioning effect available anywhere. So for us in the PDP, and indeed the opposition, if we can, muzzle our way to the center now and say to ourselves, this is about the Nigerian people.
Right.
Let us unite alongside each other
Okay.
so that we can sack these people that have smeared and disgraced our country. Because like Trump referred to our country, indeed, Nigeria has been disgraced by the APC government.
On that rather sad note, I want to thank you very much indeed. Mazis Nnamdi Dixon Iroegbu is a public affairs analyst and a member of the People's Democratic Party and an obedient. And Kaka is a public policy analyst and an international development expert. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again next week. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, bye-bye and thank you for watching.